Thank you very much. I agree with Tebogo that this time it looks like our spirits are down, and I think there are many reasons why that is so. So I'll also start by calling Amandla. Amandla. Awethu. Amandla. Qina msebenzi qina. Phansi ngamasela phansi. Thank you very much. President Matunjwa, Mrs. Matunjwa, we're happy to see you here with us today. Bishop Verreyn, Abo Mama, the widows, the victims, other victims, survivors of the massacre, my colleagues, Advocate Baitobi and Advocate Musikidi. I want first to just pay tribute to the leadership of AMCU, Babu Gama, Babu Mphahlele, and our president. This, for keeping this occasion going for all these years, for 8 years. It's very, very important. We have a battle, as Bishop said, and that the battle is against forgetting. I have no doubt that those people who were beneficiaries or perpetrators of the massacre, they pray that this thing must be forgotten. And by now, if we did not have this commemoration every year, they would have had their way. That is the fight that we must have, the battle against forgetting. Because the day we forget about what happened, even for 1 year, then we must know that they have their way. So we must really thank the leadership of AMCU for making sure that even under these difficult circumstances of COVID-19, a plan was made that we should be able to deal with these matters. I just want to say something, President, if you allow me, about some of the stories that you hear. You know, there are people who say, when we talk about the massacre, and they say to us, yeah, what about the other 10 people? As if the deaths of those other 10 people justify the massacre. And we want to say to them, anybody who says that, for me, I just close my ears, because I know that person does not know actually what happened. They don't even know that actually of those 10 people, 3 of them were striking workers. And that 5 of the people who died on the 13th died because the police threw tear gas when there had been an agreement between the police and the strikers that they were going to walk towards the Kopi. And some clever person from head office decided that that agreement must be broken by throwing tear gas. And in what happened there, 5 people died. But we have always said that all the people who died there, whether they were policemen, whether they were security guards, they were all workers in one way or another. And there are many other stories like that. So in this battle against forgetting, we must also remind people, because the story also gets distorted. When we talk about the massacre, we're talking about the event of the 16th. But that does not mean the other people who died were not important. I also want to say that the role that was played by President Matunjwa, Bishop Sioka, and other leaders who tried with everything to prevent this from happening must not be forgotten. Mzoxolo Makidwana gave evidence to the Falam Commission to say that the last words of Mgcineni Nogi, Mambush, was that these people want to kill us, let us go home. And they were on their way towards Nkaneng when they were massacred. But we are told that no, these people were attacking the police. So let us say those 17 people who were killed near the kraal were attacking the police, let's say, including Mzoxolo. What about the other 17 that they killed at Kopi 2, who were hiding, who had their hands up? And those are stories that need to be told. So, as far as the legal process is concerned, as Mzoxolo said, Mzoxolo is a very special person. He's the only person who was unvusa nobango one saying and say to me, we need to do this. All the things that he has said there, he's been saying to me in the last 2 weeks. In fact, I remember sometime in June, he phoned me, he said, I have a flu, I think I might have COVID. But if I die, I just want you to know that you must carry on with the fight, with the legal fight. So in a nutshell, on the legal fights, there are about 5 important cases. There's the case of the deceased that is handled by our colleagues in Seri. And then there's the case of the survivors, the injured and arrested, people like Mzoxolo and others. And that is handled by some of my colleagues who are not here, Mr. Msimang, Mr. Tlhahla, Mr. Nkome, Ms. Mapule Kietse, Obradi, and we also have my colleague here, Advocate Dali, who's part of our team. It is the saddest thing to report that of all those cases, there's a case of the widows, there's the case of the injured and arrested, there's the case personally against Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, there's a case against Lon Min, and there's also the case, the brief we have of reviewing the Falam Commission. Of all those cases, only one case has been settled. And it is the case of those people who were arrested and injured for about a week or so. So you can say that that was the easiest of those cases. And ironically, the government has paid only those people, which does not make sense, because the people who were mostly injured, who were maimed actually, like Mzoxolo and others, and of course the people who lost their loved ones, have not been compensated. And in the case of Mr. Ramaphosa personally, the saddest thing is that what they have done is to take technical points, technical legal points, like saying, no, there's no case about an apology. They don't realize that for the victims, you've heard from the widows, you've heard from everyone. Actually, the issue of the apology is, I can say, sometimes even more important to them than the money, because they want closure. And so we appeal to Mr. Ramaphosa to stop taking technical points. In his capacity as the president of the country, I have been asked by the people we represent to say that we are giving them until the end of August. If they have not compensated these people, we are going to see what we do about that. We are also giving him personally until the end of August. I was told to convey, to ensure that he engages with our attorneys. He knows who they are. His attorneys know who our attorneys are. To ensure that they stop taking these technical points and they engage with us. If they fail to do that, we have a team that has been assembled, Mr. Nkaitobi, Mr. Musikidi, Babu Ntsabeza, and other advocates. We are going to take this matter up, both against him personally and against his government. So if you ask me on the 1st of September if they have complied or not, even that is being generous, the fact that the clients still are giving them 2 weeks, then we are going to, nobody must blame us about what will follow. I also want to say that, to emphasize this point, that we want a human approach to this. Ubuntu is all we're asking for. We know that in the Western legal systems, there are things where they say, no, the time has gone, the case has prescribed. But for us as Africans, in all our languages, we have a saying that "Ichala aliboli, mulato kauboli." They must know that. As far as we're concerned, it might take us 20 years, it might take us however many years, maybe it will be our children who have to do this. But this is not going to go away. So it is better for them to approach it from an approach of Ubuntu. And I say that because, as I say, when I speak to Mzokolo, I say to him, look, your compensation is probably coming very soon. But the request that he is making to President Matunjwa is not about that. Because we must also remember the government has actually accepted liability. They have accepted that they were wrong in killing the people, in shooting everyone. All that is left is for them to pay the compensation. And when I speak to them, they say, we see the issue of compensation, but please pursue these other cases about acknowledgement, about apology, and about setting the record straight about the distortions that might have come from the Falam Commission. And those are the broader issues that we would like to engage the government on. And they know how to contact our attorneys. Otherwise, from the 1st of September, then they're going to meet us in court and we will be reporting to the nation that the disgrace that these people have not been compensated after 8 years. What are they thinking? What are they thinking that people are surviving on? People walking around with bullets in their heads and in their bodies for 8 years. Some have died, some, even the children don't know what is coming next. What kind of government is that? What kind of black government? What kind of Africans are these who are so callous and are unable just to say sorry and let's get around the table? We know that will not bring back the dead people. We know that will not replace the limbs of the people who were injured. But all they want is emotional closure and the respect to their dignity. And that, on the justice side of things, justice, as the bishop was saying, is all that this is about. And justice for the people of Marikana. And this is our local manifestation of the Black Lives Matter issue. This government, just like those people in America, has had its knee on the necks of the victims for the past 8 years. And we are saying, we too cannot breathe. And this government must pay. I remember Comrade James Nicol, in the past 2 commemorations, actually made this call at the mountain. And I think we should emulate him. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice,
no peace.
No peace,
no justice.
Thank you very much.
Sibonge kakhulu kubaba Advocate Dali Mpofu. Now to recall the names, besicela Treasurer General Ubaba Gama. Whilst he does that, kuzolayitiwa amakhandlela, and in that spirit as well, we'll have Ubaba Zulu giving a musical item. Laba who have been assigned, I'm sure Ubaba Gama miyabazi, ukuthi basondele kuzolayitwa, may you kindly do so. Ubaba Gama.
Thank you, Mr. Kosi, who is our program director. Father, the Bishop, I greet you. Comrade President and Umam Matunjwa, all the distinguished guests, leaders of AMCU, the families, Ganbingelela.